Hello, everybody. Welcome to the final farewell to Aylesbury Mayor Mike Smith.
Evening, Martin. How are you?
Sir. Do you know what? Stressed. Absolutely stressed, because I wanted to give you a really fun farewell, and you know we might have to revisit at some point, because I'm telling you, the bloopers. I was saying just prior, and then we lost connection with the mic, which was really weird. But it's like, I didn't realize how much we actually did, how much we covered, the laughs that we had along the way. I'm going to start crying. I think, honestly, it's immense.
How many episodes did we do altogether? I was trying to think through. I'm guessing around about 15 or 20.
It's 11. I've got down 11. But you came on the lockdown show. We've done other little bits where it went wrong. Remember when we first started?
Oh, yes. We had all kinds of issues, didn't we?
You don't realise, I mean, until you go back. You know, without you, let me explain what you've done for FBL. As much as we've done stuff for, obviously, other people and Aylesbury Vale and stuff, but it's what you've done for us here at FBL. It's like, in the moment of crisis, we was like, okay, let's do the interviews. And you're like, yes, let's do that. That's cool. We can update people. We can use your technology, your knowledge. And then the immense task begins. And I didn't realize this until I started doing all these videos. You know, I mean, you say how many videos? There's 11. But you know what? Most of them are over an hour long. And in that, you've had literally over 1,000 views. You've had, and I mean, most of them actually as well, I'll give you that, like 2/3 of that is really people watching those little bits that I did as well. But people who did watch for the whole lot, which is incredible on YouTube, because people only have a tolerance for about 10 minutes. If you're lucky, if they're youngsters.
Yeah. Particularly of me. I mean, I don't know anyone that would want to be in my company for a whole hour, but there you go. There are people out there.
I do. I've loved doing all these. I'm going to miss. I mean, first thing is probably to say, what are you going to say to the next mayor? Because are you going to say, look, stay away from Smiler and FBL because he drags on for an hour?
No, I'm going to say, make time in your diary to do that, because it'll be a lot of fun. And it has been a lot of fun. Sometimes it's just felt like, we could have been, although we were on screen, there was a screen between us, we could have been sitting in a pub somewhere with a pint, just chewing over the issues of the day and just sharing our views. And it's been real fun as well as informative. And I hope people who've watched have found it informative and fun. I'm sure we'll get some comments saying, glad it's over or something.
Put it in the comments, people, please. Yeah, let us know what you thought of it all, and whether you'd like to see more from the Aylesbury Mayor, because I think it's a great start. I think what you've enabled is something, I think major for the Aylesbury Vale sort of area, where a mayor does actually have a voice. Because, one of the things I was looking at, again, I'm gonna own up here, everybody. I was up till 4 o'clock this morning editing, let's just say, half the videos, and I have spent literally from like 8 o'clock this morning up till literally 7 o'clock editing even more, and then I put it through the compiler. It's just about to finish in about 7 minutes, so I'm owning up to that, and we can go through that. But one of the things is the cemetery business, because to me, I wanted to go to the cemetery, and it was a bit like, oh, the gates were always closed when the COVID action happened. And then we had our chat, and then the next day it was formally released that the cemetery was closed. And then we had another chat a couple of weeks later, and we were saying about, look, people need to pay their respects. They couldn't go to the funeral, all this was happening, and it still is the case, I suppose, in one way, obviously, but with the reduced numbers. But then the government listened to us, because there's no doubt they have been listening to what we've been talking about. And then it was open again, and then the people was able to pay their respects.
Yeah, it was quite difficult, and I think we had to tackle some difficult, controversial discussions. And in those early days, the rules were coming out and they weren't entirely clear, or it was difficult to say exactly how you interpret those rules. And I think a lot of people decided if there was any doubt, we're going to err on the side of caution. And in different ways, that created difficulties for some people. So we were all kind of feeling our way. And I think sharing of views like this, and hopefully governments, both local and national, listening to people like us saying what we felt about what was going on, led to things changing and improving. So hopefully it's been something that has been useful. And I think one of the amazing things about this last year, though it's different to any year any previous mayor of Aylesbury will have ever had, the fact that I could still reach the community through shows like yours and other YouTube things I've done, I think is something that the town council, of which I'm no longer a member, should continue thinking about in the future.
You'll always be a member. You've been amazing. Come on, you should get that sort of victory, Victorian Cross sort of. You've done your service well and proud. You've been a great mayor.
I've been pleased with how it's gone. I think feedback has generally been positive. I'm not going to call myself a great mayor. I'm not sort of if other people want to say that, then the fact that I've been well regarded in this 2 years it's a great note to go out on. 20 years on the council, 2 years as mayor, and if people say, well, that Mike Smith did a decent job and we liked what he did, then that's great. That's all I need.
Your legacy is recorded for all time on YouTube and with FBL. There you go. Yeah. So do you know who's getting the bling?
I have no idea. That decision is down to the new members of the council. I don't know when they're discussing it. They'll obviously have to do it before next Thursday, when the meeting to hand over will take place. So hopefully I'll be told in advance. Just offer the chain round the room. Anybody want this?
Take a ticket. Number 47. There we go. Red. 47 red.
we could maybe raffle the chance to have the chain for a year in aid of youth concern or something. Who knows?
What, the 1966 from Mr. Mason made pendant? Is it not? Did I get that right?
I think it's 1961.
61?
You were not far away, and it was the Masons. Yeah.
Ah, there we go. So the Masons or Mason? Interesting. Secret handshake.
Yeah, the Freemasons. They were very involved in Aylesbury politics in years gone by.
Oh, was they? Oh, we never touched on that ever. Ah, so there's the mysterious lodges around.
Yeah, don't ask me. I'm not a member. I've never been asked to be a member. I know nothing about it, but I know that they exist in Aylesbury and elsewhere, and I know they do a lot of great work for local charities. I've been to some of their presentations of quite huge grants to local charities. They how they raise it, I don't know, but they raise huge amounts of money.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Not the secret society as much as people think, then. Just they're out there, obviously, helping and putting stuff out.
Yeah, I'm sure there's. I genuinely don't know, but I don't think there's even rumours of any weird stuff going on. Who knows?
That's
maybe Monday we could explore that topic, or you could get a member of the Aylesbury Lodge of Freemasons on your show. See what you can find out. There's an idea.
What would they? There we go. It's an interesting one. Good questions. So, our first show. Let's get off the Freemasons, because we're not in this to debate all the other stuff that was going on. It's all about you today, all about what you've done and what you've done over the last year. I mean, obviously giving away good and bad news. You know, obviously sometimes it's like this is going to happen, and then like Live in the Park. So Live in the Park, is that still on?
Fingers crossed.
Cool, excellent.
They
Just
are,
like to ask that before I say anything.
Yeah.
You know, again, I've been going through our whole year. I mean, from what 4th of the 5th, so 4th of May, through to present day. You know, and I saw our highs and our lows. You know, in regards to the information we had to, or you had to deliver, and I asked the questions, obviously. So, I mean, one of them obviously was the cemetery and how that all changed around. The things about Live in the Park, Mix 96 as well. That was something which you didn't win that fight, or we didn't win actually, because you were our commander in chief on that crusade. But unfortunately, Bauer decided to just do their own thing and not listen to, local appeals, really, isn't it?
Yep, that's right, and that doesn't mean the battle wasn't worth fighting. You have to let people know when you're unhappy or angry about something, and that you want a change of mind, even if you don't get it. I think we registered with Bauer that they needed to think more about what Mix 96 meant to this local community, and I to be honest, I don't listen to Great Six Radio very much at all, but I think they have tried a little bit more to bring in some more local content. I was asked to go on the show round about Christmas time to promote what was going on. Whether that would have happened if it hadn't been for the campaign to keep what was all that was good about Mix 96, I don't know, but we'll see how things pan out.
Are they going to help pay for the stage or whatever for Live in the Park?
I don't know. I haven't in the discussions that we had about the possible Live in the Park, which, as I say, it's still uncertain at this stage, and it's now a decision for the new council. But I think the sponsorship that we used to get is not there anymore. So
right. So
that's another challenge. It's not a reason not to go ahead with it. The only reason we may not go ahead with it would be down to COVID and health issues. So hopefully, with things continuing to improve, that decision will be the one that everyone wants to hear. But we will see in due course.
Yeah, I mean, we've chatted a lot about this on all the shows about Live in the Park and Proms in the Park. It's a very busy weekend. There is so much. I mean, you obviously go up and you do your speech as well, which you have stated that if you knew there was like 10,000 people there, you wouldn't have got up on stage. So,
well, I probably still would have got up, but I think my legs would have been shaking and my voice would have been a bit more quavery as well. But still got to be done. Yeah, it's a huge event, huge 2 days and months of preparation beforehand, and our team of staff and volunteers who make that happen are absolutely run ragged for weeks. It's one of those things where people just don't realize how much it takes to make that happen. I mean, it's great that they have a great time. They come along, 2 days of fun. They go away, hopefully taking their litter home with them. And then they think, well, that was a nice 2 days, but there really is a hell of a lot of work to make things like that happen. And because it's all free and largely voluntary, that's a big commitment from people, big commitment to their community.
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, I'm involved, from Friday night? I mean, it starts really from Thursday night, doesn't it, really? I mean, to be honest, Ruth and the gang and everybody is actually working months in advance. But when the stage turns up on Friday morning, I can't remember.
I think so, or it may even be on the Thursday, but it's certainly at least a day in advance.
Yeah, on the Friday, because I'm always waiting, because it's like we're like, I'll give you a call once the stage is up, because you obviously can't be there, and I'm just like, yeah, but I need to set up. It's like, so I just got to wait. I'm just like not sat around, but I'm obviously getting all my stuff ready. And, just like, have I got everything? I think I have, and then you get the call, and then you get there, and I mean, the Ents crew there are amazing as well. All the work that they do, you can see the setup. They've always been really, really helpful, and all the business owners, and they look forward to that weekend. So it actually drives their business as well, and lets people know what they're selling, and it also helps them out financially as well. So it's
a great thing, and we love being able to do that, to have local food and drink suppliers and other local businesses just a chance to promote themselves to a much wider audience. So it achieves a lot for the town, and it's really highly thought of. And I know that people have relatives coming from all over the country, because, as they say so often to me, there are very few towns, or maybe there aren't any other towns at all, that do something like this, all for free. And it's really putting Aylesbury on the map.
Is that true? Is it? Is that real? Like, Aylesbury's probably right up there then, doing a free event like this, or like that.
On that scale, absolutely. Yeah.
I never knew that. That's interesting. And well, that just goes to say how wonderful it is, really. I've just got this thing it's actually the video. Now, I haven't seen this video yet. It's the one I've created, which is, I've just got to tell the system where it is. And it's just 12 gig. That's not good. But, again, we probably won't be able to go for it, or I don't want to use up all your time, because you've been so grand at giving us all the time over the year. But hopefully you'll probably say, no, I want to see more. But let's revisit. I just need to find it. You know when you're just trying to find something, because I'm never. Do you know what? I have not been this busy for ages, and it's like, right, where is it? All shows. There we go. Oh, says the file was in use. Give me one sec. Oh, it still hasn't finished. It said it had, but it hasn't. Okay, so where was I? What were we talking about? Actually, you've moved away. You're no longer. Have you totally walked away from politics and everything now?
I am taking a break from politics. It was pretty hectic the last few weeks leading up to the elections, because even though I was leaving, I wanted to help as many as possible of my colleagues to get over the line on Thursday. Yeah, which we did very successfully.
Can you? Oh, how did they do?
Great night for the Lib Dems in Aylesbury. Good. So still in control of the town council. Last time around, we had 12 seats. This time we've got 20.
Oh, so you've done very well.
Very well indeed. Yep. 13 seats on the Buckinghamshire Council.
But the news is all about Conservatives done really well.
Yeah, but there are a number of places around where the Lib Dems have done well too, and Aylesbury is one of them.
Is this the bounce back for the Liberal Democrats then?
I think it's the beginning.
It's the beginning.
We'll see. If you're a Liberal Democrat, you've got to have eternal optimism about the future, and I'm hoping this is the start of another period of growth for us. We'll see. But I'm handing over to my colleagues. I'm taking a break from the political scene. I am quite sure that in a year or two or a few years, I'll find myself drawn back in. But for the time being, I've got few other things to focus on.
Okay. Quick, Frida Roberts, she helped me loads. Now, is she still here with us? Is she still?
She is. When I last spoke to Frida a few months ago, I think it was her 97th birthday or something like that. Yeah. So she's moved away from Aylesbury. She lives in Somerset with her family now, but she keeps in touch. In fact, I must try and give her a call to let her know about the results last week.
Could you do me a favour? Can you do me a favour, please?
I can, yes.
Can you just say, from Martin Keneally, thank you for all the help you gave me, and see if she remembers my name, but she'll remember I was the single dad with 2 children, and I wrote her a message or emailed her in regards to help, and she literally invited me round. She made a couple of phone calls and was disgusted with the system, and she goes, leave it with me and I'll sort it. And you know, I have messaged her telling her how we've got on since, but the messages didn't start coming back. So obviously she's left office, or obviously, like I said, got sunset. So if anything, you can say to her, this guy you helped 10 years ago, it must be something like that, and just say he's saying thanks. And you know, I actually help in the community now as well, and try and help other people. So it's really cool. I know
I will pass that on, and she'll be delighted to hear that. And the number of people knocking on doors all over Aylesbury, everywhere you go, there's someone who's, oh, is Frida Roberts still around? She helped my mum, she helped my dad, she helped my brother. She was and always will be an absolute Aylesbury legend. She
will be, yes, definitely. And well, I hope she's having a great time down in Somerset, to be fair. And 97 years old, that's good going. So, you know, wish her plenty more years as well. But again, pass on my special regards to her, and thanks for everything that she's done. And again, you know, I know she's Liberal Democrat, and some people might say, oh, whatever. I don't care about party politics. What she did was she went way above and beyond what she needed. And if it wasn't for her, I don't know where it would be now, where me and my family would be. So it's you know, shout out to Frida Roberts there. So makes me emotional as well.
Thank you for that. And it's good for other people to hear that, you know, local politicians, local councillors, they might not seem that important, but sometimes they can make a real massive positive difference to people's lives. So
I'll tell you what,
to do that is fantastic.
I'll tell you what she said to me, which was a very special thing, and I'll always remember it. She goes, I don't have as much clout as I once did, but I will get to the bottom of this, and I will do my best to sort it and help you. I had a phone call within 24 hours. I had somebody, you know, from the council sorting something out, and I was like, whoa, you know, that woman's still got clout.
Oh, yes.
She knows. And, you know, again, from me and for my family, you know, from where we were and where we're at, if it wasn't for her, I'd hate to know where we'd be. So, yes. So there we go. And you know what? I think that says a lot as well about party politics. Look at, especially when you're voting, stop going so much with, you know, with your heart or your head or what you've been ingrained with. Think about how they've helped you. And I did speak to a guy before I voted last week, and I asked him against, you know, how he voted. Did he just follow the line that he's used to? That, you know, I always vote, for instance, you know, Conservative, Liberal, Labour, or Independent, or whatever. And he went, actually, I vote for who I believe, irrelevant of party, and how they were helping, whether or not I've heard a lot about them and all this. And I was like, good for you. But I know there's a lot of people out there who just, for instance, follow what their parents do and stuff like that. And like you coming on the show, it says a lot when you've got, for instance, the same invite goes out to, you know, certain blue candidates who don't even appear at all in front of me. They have done, and then they've stopped. And it's a bit like, that says a lot to me. Stand and be counted, you know, that's what you need to do. I mean, as mayor, it's different. Ours is more of a fun sort of go over the subjects, but we have dealt with some serious topics on these shows of ours, by the way.
We certainly have.
And let's just hope. Let me just quickly flick. Oh, it's ready.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. Do you know what? Again, I humbly apologise. It's not like I've had a lot to do, and it's not like I haven't spent my time doing this, but I definitely have. But I couldn't. I think what it was is I actually got into it too much, and I was loving it. It was just amazing to watch how it developed. Let's have a look. Here we go. I think it's automatically going to start playing. Now I'm going to pause this. Now you may not have known this, but I actually, using this old software, so we've upgraded now and done a lot. But this is how it first started and went out. We've got Mayor Mike Smith. Hello, Mike. Everybody, now be careful because the volume levels aren't good. Watch your ears.
Hi, Martin.
Exactly. No, the point is I need to digitally remaster these because that's, I mean, when I played that back, because it all seems all right in our headphones. So I've got headphones on. You were obviously talking. I remember we'd done a prior one to this as well. And we were having connection problems and everything. So it is, so I'm going to turn this down a bit. That's how loud that was. But you won't really be able to hear me.
Much appreciated. The rules are being applied and people must stick to them, because if not, this could drag on for longer and get worse, and then the restrictions might have to be more severe. So I'm hoping that if we can all put up with a few weeks of inconvenience and discomfort, it will all be to the good in the longer term. It was 66 as at today, which is Buckinghamshire as a whole. I don't know the Aylesbury specific figure. I have heard on the grapevine about a handful that may or may not be deaths related directly to coronavirus, but it's obviously something that is really it needs to be kept under close watch and close control. We've seen the way those numbers can escalate in other countries exponentially, and we've got to do everything in our power to stop that happening here, Martin. And I know that is tough to do. And actually, I think we have to curtail one of our most basic and what is normally one of our best human instincts, which is in times of crisis, we normally want to reach out to each other, to help each other come together, and for those that are closest to us, to hold and comfort them. And we can't do that. We mustn't do that, because that makes you part of the problem. And it's really, really hard to stop yourself doing that, but we've got to do it. I think I've told you pretty much all of what I know. I'm learning as we go through this. I'm having to do a very different role to my normal role as mayor, but I'm doing my best, and I'm listening and learning all the way. But I think the last thing I'd like to say is a big thank you to all those who are working so hard and those that are putting up with hardship and inconvenience to help us all through this. I really do appreciate that.
So there you go. So what did you think of your very first show?
Well, apart from the scary voice, yeah. And we didn't know what was coming, did we? Because to say this could last a few weeks, and here we are more than a year later, having been through some tough times, and it's easing, but there may be more tough times to come. I don't think anyone really knew how serious this was going to turn out to be.
Exactly. I mean, I'd like to just flip that on its side a little bit. It was your first sort of show being in front of the camera, you know, and being presented with some uneasy questions, I suppose, in one respect. But you can see that you're very, this is the answer. This is how it's going to be. It's very, yes, I'm okay. I am the mayor.
Well, I didn't want to miss, if the public were misled or misunderstood, or I misunderstood what I'd read or been told, I didn't know how risky saying the wrong thing might be. So I was really being ultra cautious and not saying anything unless I was 100% sure of the ground I was on. And to be honest, that's continued because it's still an area where there's a lot that we don't know, some that we may not be being told, or it's difficult to understand. But I was, very wary of what I said for a while, certainly. Yeah, and
but if you look at you now, you are so relaxed. You're the Fonz. You're so cool. It's just like, it's just. But you'll see. Let's play the next stream, which was the 26th of the 5th. So again, I apologise for the sound levels once again. There we go. Oh, I've turned it down a bit. Now, Mike is having technical difficulties. But do you remember the technical difficulties? I see he's here, which is good. I'll just change my...
Oh, there were all kinds of things.
Yeah, we went through hell.
Hello,
Mike. How are you? So if I just pause it there, in case people don't even know, I'm probably watching this on the replay, this is when internet, so everybody was home, weren't they? And literally, internet, I've got like 500 meg broadband, super duper fiber optic, but I literally was getting like 30 meg. And if you was on ADSL, which you were on, you were lucky if you were getting half a meg. And this is where this kind of started to, I started to see this issue happening. And people were saying to me, my internet's really slow. And I'm like, that's because everybody's home and everybody's using the internet. And but this is what we were obviously dealing with. Are you okay? And I got to admit, so professional. Technical difficulties. The old hand round the back. I have no idea what he's saying.
Oh, I was freezing and lagging all over the place, wasn't I? And
it was.
Losing Can you hear us, sound.
Mike? We stayed calm though.
I've got vision, but
the sound's not good.
Tremendously good sound. I know you're there.
Okay, that's all good. Should we try some questions first?
Well, for all levels of government, the whole world has changed, as it has for all of us. So my normal role would be being chairman of loads of meetings, which aren't happening. The number of services that we are able to provide for the public is less than it was. The key services that the town council provide are firstly the town cemetery, which is still operating, although funerals are very different these days to what they were before in terms of restrictions and numbers, but we're trying to provide that service in the most sympathetic way possible for people. We are also keeping our town allotments open, and that's very much appreciated because people can go out and use that as a form of exercise, and also, all being well, have a ready supply of fresh and healthy food. The main services that we are having, or we have had to cut back on, are our public events. And we're just getting into the season where normally we'd be running events for the general public pretty much every week throughout the spring and summer. We can't have public gatherings, so those are all on hold until probably the August bank holiday, or until we're advised on this. We've
very informative there. So much information portrayed at that early stage of what we were doing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I used to do quite a lot of revision ahead of
used coming to. On the show. Does that mean you don't do it anymore?
Now I just
wing it.
Tune in with 2 minutes to go. I'll ad lib something. Yeah, it'll be all right on the night, kind of thing.
I'd just like to say he does do that to me, by the way. He does not. Everybody out there, yeah, I know he looks really nice, but sometimes he really has me biting my nails because he gives me like literally 4 minutes before he turns up. He's like, yeah, right, ready to go. And I'm like, thanks, buddy. Still love it though. I do love it. I do love it. Let's have a look. Oh, where is it? It's gone again. There we go. Let's just continue this on.
Also had to stop the cutting of the grass around the town, and that's to ensure the health and safety of both our workforce and any members of the public that they might come into contact with during that process.
All right, so that was the so the next one, obviously the first to the fourth. So I've tried to keep them as relevant as I can, obviously as in time wise. So what do you think of that then? So your second ever show on FBL, very informative, very to the point.
Yeah, I think at that time we were very much focusing on coronavirus and the figures and what national and local government were doing. It was obviously later on down the line that we just got into all kinds of different topics, and whatever was on our minds, just conversation just flowed, didn't it?
We got into the groove, as they say. But that's kind of what I wanted to push forth with, especially with, like, for instance, MP Greg Smith. It's you know, there's the cardboard cutout routine, which is what you saw on the first one, but you can start to see you starting to ease into it, so to speak, and it's also a good. That's a good. I think it's a good place for you, for instance, if you have a chance to go for MP, which I think you should. So there we go.
I said I was taking a break from politics.
That's right.
Not getting even more deeply into it.
I'm merely just stating the fact that if you do decide to go back, you know, just saying, you might, you know, you'll see as we go through all this. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's about another 9 to go, but how well you formulated it, I mean, it's brilliant.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Mike.
Hello, Martin.
Hey, we seem to got it all sorted. Actually, you have. So well done on your side. Are you well?
I'm keeping well, thank you very much. You?
Good. Well, I think I have got a cold. I'm all bunged up, and so if I sound a bit huskied up, that's what it might be. So, obviously, a lot going on. We've been trying for the last so many days to get this working. Unfortunately, we haven't been so lucky. But third time.
Do you remember all that? Just trying to get it to work was a pain, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was at that time. It was mainly me and my terrible technology, bad internet connection, bad laptop. I think once or twice you had issues at your end as well, but it just seemed things were conspiring against us for quite a while.
Definitely. But do you know what? That's the persistence.
Maybe it was the government trying to shut us down to stop us revealing things too much to the public.
You know it's the truth, but we'll ignore that one that you actually said that. But there we go. I'll edit that out later. Or everybody's internet connection's just gone as you said it.
So here we go. So there is a lot going on with the coronavirus. A lot of services have been stopped. I'm sure you'll fill us in a minute. But should we first talk about the cases? In the Buckinghamshire area, the latest tally I've got is 147 cases in Buckinghamshire.
Sadly, we've had another increase today, and a big one. It's now 195.
Oh, okay.
And that is the biggest daily increase we've had, and that matches what's going on nationally. So it seems we're very much in the thick of it still. The cases haven't really started slowing down, so there is still more work to be done.
It was a big thing for us. You can see on your face as well when you're giving out that information. You know, we are in uncharted waters giving out this information and how we deliver it. I mean,
yeah, and things were changing every day, even facing. I don't know whether you sort of made some notes ahead of the broadcast based on the previous day figures, and I just probably 5 minutes before coming on, better look at the figures, and suddenly things have changed for the worse in that case. So it's very hard to keep up with things, isn't it?
It is an unusual day of stuff as well going on, isn't it? So it's you know, it's not like we have a whole team behind us shoveling us information. It's stuff we, you know, I've had to go, you know, like deep to find information, which was, I thought, disgusting. And we talk.
Well, I know you were having to look on German websites to find information about what was going on in the UK in enough detail.
Jumped about 6 episodes.
Astonishing. Yeah.
I will go to any lengths to get the information. There you go. Well, not any lengths, but I will try my best. So let's continue this on a bit.
Yeah, and rightly so. And I've heard that people in vehicles and on foot have been asked where they're going, what the purpose of their journey is. I think the police have probably got things they would rather be doing than enforcing that, but hopefully that gets the message through to people and they will think twice or think more than twice before making an unnecessary journey.
Okay, sorry.
My cat, Flo, just trying to get in on the action, was driving me nuts. And you've done very well to keep your composure through all that.
I was smiling there because my cat keeps on walking across my lap. It's like she wants to be on the screen. So.
Yep, absolutely. We've heard people today hanging around in play parks that are supposed to be closed to the public.
You have closed them as well, haven't you, the play parks?
They have been closed, but people have mainly older kids and teenagers have got into play parks, and then smaller children walking past with their parents who've been told we can't use the play parks are asking the question, why are there people in there? So it's giving a very confusing message when the message needs to be as clear as possible. Let's all follow these rules. If we stick to them for a while, we have to, otherwise it will get worse and last longer. I think that's national government guidelines for any necessary gathering of people. Obviously things like weddings and christenings can't happen at all at the moment, but things that have to happen, such as funerals, the limit is 5 people. And I think that includes the priest or whoever's officiating, so only 4 relatives, I believe.
Okay, that makes sense then, with Coventry's line. So obviously it must be the priest or whoever's giving the service, plus the 4 family members. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Also, the cemeteries, are they open at the moment or are they closed? Somebody did ask that.
The Aylesbury Town Cemetery, which is run by the Town Council, is still open. So that's one of our key services, and obviously burials are still required.
Just thinking in my head, apologies again, people really do need to pay respects, and they, obviously if they do lose somebody, obviously visiting the cemetery, and obviously as part of lockdown, I would expect, like you just said, there is no visiting, but I'm sure people probably will try and visit. And is it overseen by anybody at all, or is it literally the gates are opened and then closed at a certain time?
I don't actually know if the gates are completely closed other than when a burial is going on. I will check in with our officers that deal with the burial side of the council business and confirm that to you.
Okay, we'll put it up on our next broadcast. Okay then.
Okay.
Again, thanks for doing this. It's really, really appreciated. Let's have a look. Oh, today, sorry, I'm just looking at my notes. Big one. It's now one council, isn't it? Except in Milton Keynes have their own one, I think.
I forgot about that, the one council.
Oh, yes, that all came along at the same time, yeah.
It did, didn't it? And then we were greeted with, obviously, you explaining it all and how it was all merged and how it all went ahead and how Aylesbury Vale was going to be the same basically the same. It's not real any change at your end, is there? But everything else.
At the Aylesbury Town Council level, there was no change, but
yeah.
Aylesbury Vale disappeared and Wickham Council disappeared and Chilterns, all to become Buckinghamshire. So all that transition had to be managed during lockdown. Couldn't have any proper meetings. It was quite a challenge.
Definitely.
Merging all those services and people going into different jobs. And what was happening at the time were a lot of particularly sort of admin type people were being moved into essential COVID related jobs like organising food parcels, manning the helplines, coordinating PPE getting to people, all those kind of things that it was almost like a wartime situation. We had to suddenly adapt, and businesses were doing different things and people were doing different jobs because of the national situation. So I think the fact that people proved to be so adaptable and willing to change and do more and put themselves out, and a lot of people did a hell of a lot on a purely voluntary basis without being paid a penny for it.
Yeah.
I think that was a great tribute to the whole country, but especially what I saw in Aylesbury, people pulling together, helping each other out, looking out for others, not just people they knew, complete strangers in some cases. People were just pulling together for the community and to get us through this. It was a real highlight of a difficult year as mayor, to be able to see and promote and thank the town for doing that.
Yeah, that's why me going over these videos, like I said, till 4 o'clock in the morning, I didn't even know it was 4 o'clock. I'm looking at all these and I'm like going, wow, I forgot about this. And I'm glad that we've done it, because it's been like, it's recording it, and now obviously you're, going back over it, and it's something that you can actually show people. Obviously, once I've digitally remastered the sound and everything, but it's.
I'll buy the whole box set when it comes out.
Oh, you get it free. Don't worry about that, man. You already put your time in, and your sixpence. But yeah, it was a mad time, wasn't it? Because people didn't have a clue what was really going on with the county council. I mean, there was stuff beforehand, but then it just obviously, merged into one. And there was, obviously then COVID hit. It's just like, could we just be more complicated at the worst time ever? And like you said, people taking on roles, doing what they had to do. But again, it's a British thing, isn't it? Let's just get on with it, because we've got no choice, really. It's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
Definitely. All right. Shall we continue on? Now, shall I forward on to the next one? If you want. I don't want to miss any fun stuff, but obviously I don't want to take up too much of your time. But this is when we started to bring into the report.
When nearly 450 people have died today from something that we didn't even have a few weeks back. And in relative terms, we're seeing that as positive news, because it's less than half the number we had just over a week ago when we were hitting 900 plus. So it may still be too early to say, but I think it feels like a flattening and possibly a reversing of the curve, which is what we've all been waiting for. It doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet. We've got a way to go.
I'll just bring up those. You'll be able to see it on your screen as well. I'll just bring up there.
So that was when I think I forwarded a bit too much then.
When was that? I have noticed that I seem to have been favouring the same grey shirt for all of those early broadcasts.
Do you know that there is
my date with Martin shirt that I decided.
I would just like to say that we talk about our hair quite a lot, believe it or not. I'll do a compilation. Once I start, I'll spend some time now. I've got all the videos. And I'll do some compilation. The amount of times we talked about our hair was just amazing. You won't believe how many times I've like, no, I can't put it in this episode as well, and that episode and that. But it has been quite funny. Let me just turn that down a bit. I think I went way too far. What date was that? I think it was the same one. I think it was actually. But yeah, this is obviously me searching for all the data, wasn't it? So what I had to do there was literally find out from the point of. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the same place where we left it. Sorry, let me just rewind that back a bit. This is why you don't just push forward. I had to actually look and try and find it on the government site, so that when I was speaking to you, obviously I'm helping you find information as well, and the people out there. But I was literally like looking at my TV like that going right and writing down. They had like a little writing at the bottom of the screen, like down here. They had where it was stored on their servers, sort of scenario on the website, and I was like writing it down, going right, okay, that gives me a place to trace, and that's how I was finding that information and searching for it. But it wasn't easy to find, and I know you obviously said before it's about the work that I did trying to find it. But it was to show you that, that these are all the slides they're showing on these number 10 Downing Street. Mm. And it's just mad, isn't it? Just to think that it was, you said something. I don't know if I've got that on there. I have got it on there, but obviously I'm trying to speed up a bit of time on it. You did say that it was wrong, that people should be able to find their information, this information very quickly and very easily. But it wasn't done that way.
It was a barrage of statistics and graphs. And the things that people really needed to know were hard to find. And I think we discussed whether we thought that might be almost deliberate.
Yes, we did. You'll look back on this.
And having the information they really need and want. I don't know. I'm like you. I tend to be suspicious of the motives of government sometimes.
Yeah.
I've tended to give them the benefit of the doubt in this crisis. It was important that the government were supported by all of us to do what was necessary, but I think the information that came out was not the best. It was limited, it was confusing, and as I say, it was almost as if they were trying to hide things behind a massive complexity so that people said, I don't understand this and I'm losing interest and I'm not going to look any further. So it took detective work like yours and trawling around to get to the bottom of some of that information.
Definitely.
Shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't be that way. I think this is going to turn into like, Tony Blair went through with the Gulf crisis, with the Iraq and stuff. I think, this isn't weapons of mass destruction, but this is going to be I think there's going to be a lot to be said about this moment in time. And it's recorded on all history for us to and everybody else to see. We're really bad sound sort of levels.
It was 50 as at, I think. When did we last speak? Just over a week ago?
Yeah, it was just over the 11th, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, there has been, of that, I've found 1,572 have passed away in the southeast area who have tested positive. So again, these numbers are always based on or seem to be based on the hospital stats.
And this is what you were saying about just a minute ago. The information, now we've got clarity further down the line. What we were looking at is like, well, hang on, what's these stats based on? And everybody's in, scared, and fear is the worst thing. If it wasn't for our shows, would I have found this information as well? It's as detailed, because obviously when I come to the front with you, I want to make sure I know my stuff, or I kind of got the information, just like you did. I know you didn't used to get a phone call or something before. Was it only for the first show that you got a phone call? Who's the head of Aylesbury Town Council or whatever?
So it's the town clerk, who's the senior officer, would update me on all the services, what was running and what was not, and why not. If there were particular reasons why things couldn't be done, and what the update on the events program was, and how the staff were getting on, and everything else. So it was important for me to keep up to date, because normally I'd be popping in there every day or every other day, being brought fully up to date. So we had to learn new ways of getting our information, and by this time I think we were all used to doing video calls and Zoom meetings and all the rest of it. And it was quite surprising how quickly a lot of people adapted to working that way, and working from home in day jobs as well. Suddenly, as someone who thought I could never work from home, I can't focus, I can't concentrate.
People are still saying that. What are you talking about? I never work from home again.
But when you have to do it, when that's the only way the job can be done, somehow we all managed to do it. And I think a lot of businesses started to realise that working from home is not going to be a problem with productivity and morale. In fact, it can lead to more productivity and better morale. Just trust people, give them the freedom to work the way that works best for them, and let them get on with the job.
Definitely. I've always been avid about let people work from home, especially if they've got family as well, kids and stuff, and especially if a child's ill as well, because a parent, which is outrageous, has to take a day's holiday. And it's like, why? It's not my fault. I've got a child. I know I've made that decision, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, well, it's not like I'm incapacitated myself. My child's ill, they're in bed or they're on the sofa watching. I can still get on with some work. Why do I need to lose a day? And it takes a crisis to redo some stuff, doesn't it, sometimes? So
it does.
Would you, I don't know what time you got to go.
We've been going an hour already.
I know.
It's incredible how this time goes.
That's what I said.
Let's keep going a little while longer.
I was going to say, would you like me to forward it on to when I get the new studio? Would that be it? Because that's where the fun stuff starts to come in. Shall I try that? Let's do that. Oh, let's have a look. This is new using this. Look. First of all, you've had a different top. This one.
Maybe don't keep the distance as much as they should, and that that leads to it being counterproductive. But I'm still willing to listen to the different aspects of this.
Always willing to listen. Actually, do you know what? Now you said about the shirt, I keep on seeing it now.
It's back, yeah.
It's back. So, oh no! Look, got different. So this is right. This is where, obviously, the old software, which is obviously the software that I use for all my output live in the park, Stansted Raceway, E&G Sports, and all that lot. I've now gone right. I'm part of a group of YouTuber people, sort of thing, and Sean Cannell and that lot. And this software, they were like totally recommended it. So I paid out. Now people, you've got to understand out there that when you literally have no help from the government financially, and you've just lost basically a year's worth of work, and then you're like, right, I need to progress on to another bit of software to obviously allow the mayor to have his time on TV, so to speak, in good fashion. And this is where I was like, this is it. This is the software to use, which is what we currently use now, which makes it easier for you to not have to faff around with so many special settings. So let's have let's just press play here.
Libraries are reopening next week.
Oh,
I believe. So people can take their books back that they've had since the beginning of March, and they won't be fined because all the things have been frozen.
Can you imagine that coming in? Your bill is £50,000. What?
Yeah. Well, that'll be a way of bailing out the council from its financial deep hole it's in at the moment.
This is when you start to come alive.
We are getting a bit more relaxed, aren't we?
You are.
I am, anyway.
Yeah, definitely. The comments you're coming out with from this point on are just, honestly, it's amazing. And I think this is when people have watched and they've contacted me and said, the mayor is actually different than I thought. You know what I mean? He's down to earth. He's, it's not as pompous as I thought he would be. And honestly, that's what they're saying, And I'm like, well, yeah, exactly. They're just a normal human being. And they're like, yeah, but you know what I mean? Only certain people get this. And as we go through, and this is what you start to talk about, is how the position comes about, how people get elected to mayor. So what are you thinking of these so far as you're watching them?
It's really interesting to see the change in the dynamic of the conversation, not just what we're talking about, but just it's so much more of a relaxed chat rather than a formal question and answer type interview.
Good. And do you still feel that way though?
Yeah, and I think that works better. I think people are more likely to be engaged by listening in and watching a conversation like that. So hopefully it helps us get the information over to them a bit better than maybe we did at the beginning.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Revenue is down, but costs are pretty much carrying on as they always do. Yeah, we're looking in a bit of a financial. It's not as rosy as we thought it was going to be a few months back.
So there's a bit of good news there, is that their tests came back on their hamsters and 97%. What am I referring to here?
I don't remember this one.
You really don't? What's the thing I always use?
Oh, your, not your mate, but the I can't remember the name of it. The treatment that you were
antibody therapeutic.
Yeah. Mm.
The fun. I loved our chats for Centevax. It cleared up 97% of the infection, so that's the pass rate. So they're going to go through to human trials now. So
for example, the Jonathan Page Centre, which is an after-school club, has kept open because throughout the crisis, children of key workers have continued going to school, and by having that wraparound care before and after school, it enables those key workers to carry on working, knowing their children are being looked after.
Less coming in, then obviously you're going to receive less, but you still got your cost.
A downward spiral. The larger councils should pass a percentage of that extra funding on to towns and parishes like ours.
But then there's that, and he goes, yeah, good point. It's like furloughing. You can't work. You literally can't do anything. And
you can't work for your own employer. I think you can work for someone. You can certainly volunteer, and I think you might be able to do paid work for someone else, but not the employer that's collecting the furlough payments. There is discrimination or unequal treatment within institutions.
Do you know what we're referring to there?
Was this when we were talking about Black Lives Matter and the marches and the protests?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
This is the thing, when I've gone back over it, I'm just like, wow, we have talked about a lot. We really have gone into depth.
Not just in America, but in this country as well. All of us need to be part of the solution. Otherwise, we're part of the problem, I suppose, or we let the problem drift on without being addressed. Yeah. But I'm really proud of Aylesbury that it was a big protest. It was noisy and vocal, but it was entirely peaceful.
Yeah. Aylesbury has been, actually Bucks has been given some sad news that Mix 96 is closing down. And you asked me to put on the...
it closing down?
I don't know.
Not if I have anything to do with it.
This is where... You can see why I was up to like 4 in the morning. I'm like an hysteric. So I'm like, I forgot.
Yeah.
What'd you say to that statement?
I remember that one. I think that was quite a popular one. You did one of the brief snippets.
Yes.
Of that.
Somebody reached out from the.
And I remember quite a couple of people. Well, more than a couple of people. Quite a number of people said they'd seen it, and it had sort of galvanized them to get involved and find out more about what was going on there. So again, it's something that you help to get going and give some momentum to.
Again, like I said, any way we can help the community, as I say, it's I try my best, but that's the thing where with the dialogue that we have, it was like, well, of course, somebody, I forget who reached out to me, but I was a bit like, yeah, not a problem. They were like, oh, really? Not a problem. I'll edit up, I'll get it done, and I'll do the thumbnail. I don't know if you remember, the thumbnail was, I made it quite vivid so that people, when they saw it, would click on it, and it would just make things a lot easier. Well, not easier, but it'd make them open it up more. So it was like, but I love doing that. It was cool. It was good. It was like giving something back, you know. So, and nobody can say that, you know, FBL didn't try and help Mixed 96, because we did.
Absolutely.
Let's continue on.
Yeah. There's one thing you can say about Aylesbury Town Council. You know,
What was it? Do you remember what you said?
I don't know. They've got the most handsome mayor in the country.
If the fight is a difficult one, it doesn't stop us fighting it. Maybe there's room for both. We'll see.
There is room for both. There is.
We'll see how our campaign pans out. It's only been going a couple of weeks, and it's got a lot of momentum behind it at the moment. Yeah. So, as I say, we won't give up the fight very easily.
You won't give up the fight very easily. That little bit before that was about FBL joining the ranks of Mixed 96 or whatever you were going to set up, and I was a bit like, you know, the bit about public and private sector was a bit different.
Oh, so back to Youth Concern, my charity of the year.
Oh yes.
So, two things. They've been running a virtual counselling and advice centre for young people while they're.
This is where I started setting up for Youth Concern, was snippets of these interviews to push them out to people, to let them know and create the thumbnails, all my experience that I have using, you know, other forms of, you know, subliminal communication via keywords and everything. Because I think what you're obviously choosing the charity. I mean, do you know the final amount that you raised for the charity?
I don't know exactly. What I'm aware, in the last year, so the first year was nearly £20,000, and obviously then everything. So in terms of fundraising events, etc., couldn't do that kind of thing. So the scope for getting money in was obviously going to be a lot more limited. I'm aware of around about 2,500 being raised, donations coming in as a result of doing your shows and other things I've done, just to remind people that Youth Concern is still out there and still needs support to do its really vital work. So it's not on a par with what we achieved the year before, but it still helps.
Yeah, definitely. And also their stuff's still out there, by the way. It's not, once, you know, this is done, it's stopped, it's left out there so people know about, for instance, you know, the things that they're doing. And I've got links there so that people go to their donate page. So if they watch this, and I'm talking, I hit about 50,000 people in the last 28 days have looked at my content, or they see it come up on their feed. So that could be whatever they've typed in, or they've looked at my stuff before, it will pop up. So it could be random, like somebody might not even know anything about Youth Concern, and all of a sudden that'll pop up and they might watch it and then go, oh, and then look in the description and go, oh, there's a link now, click on that and I can donate.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. If all those people gave £1, that'll make a huge difference in itself.
There you go, isn't it? It's quite amazing. But that's how things are. And, you know, I mean, that's 50,000 in the last 28 days. So you can imagine if that's left. I mean, how long ago was this? What we're talking, well, I think this one's the 29th of the 6th or 21st of the 9th. You know, it just gathers momentum. It really does. Let's have a look. Let's carry this on a little bit more.
Premises have been closed. They are now talking about the possibility of opening their doors once again in the next 4 weeks, which is great. And the other good news is that I was able to announce the amount of money that my mayoral fundraising had made in the year. So although the mayoral year is from May to May, my mayoralty is carrying on, but obviously fundraising isn't really happening to any extent at the moment. So we really had 10 and a bit months.
Okay.
And when we added up all the money, it was £19,500, which is absolutely true. It's actually the
Well done.
best mayoral appeal that we've achieved.
So there we
There
go.
it is.
We found you.
There's me with the robes and the check.
There. Oh, I can't zoom in. That's 19,000.
£19,403 something.
39p. Hey, you look very happy there, Mayor. Look very happy.
I was absolutely thrilled. I was absolutely thrilled with that.
You know, been very accommodating, and you seem obviously a very nice guy, and we've had a really good laugh, and I think we've raised your profile up as well. So we kind of need to build it up as well. There you go. It's gaining momentum. You know, we're going for Prime Minister at some point.
Don't fancy that. Not going anywhere.
Answer, wasn't it?
Just going to spend some time with my partner because that's the new development as well.
Oh, the
Actual
bubble.
bubbles. We can get together.
I got to see one. Can we have another 5 minutes of talking? Yeah. So how did that? How was it? I mean, because obviously I've had my bubble as well. But, you know, I've gone to see my girlfriend now, and houses have amalgamated. So how was it for you? Obviously, hearing that information.
It was absolutely lovely. Thought it might feel a bit strange after 3 months of not seeing each other, but it seems we still quite like each other and enjoy spending the time together. So we're gonna try a full week of that now. So I'm really looking forward to it.
So yeah, so take some time off and enjoy as well. So that's a good idea. I mean, it is as the social distance as hard as it is, you know, especially if you're in two separate houses. It's a big thing. And now that, you know, we've got this ability to create this bubble, it's good. But it would have been nice if the government would have allowed this a lot earlier, and also allowed families to meet up before the work scenario started back up. I think that was much needed.
Yeah,
but,
they got their priorities a bit wrong there, but never mind. Cheers, mate. Thanks.
So that was an interesting one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was.
I saw you smiling there and laughing. You're just.
I was just trying to remember. I knew that I'd said something like, "We've met up after 3 months, and it seems we still quite like each other," or words to that effect. So yeah, nice.
But the bubble thing is definitely something to look back on, isn't it? That obviously once that started up and people could, but we actually couldn't actually go and meet your other half. It was.
I know. And I think for weeks before then, it was being rumoured that household bubbles were going to be allowed, and every new announcement, it was announcing something else, but not that. And we were just being disappointed every single time. And when it did come out, it was quite sudden. It was on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or something. It wasn't one of the expected announcements. It was just dropped into, I don't even know if it was the Prime Minister or one of the other ministers. It was just dropped in as part of their usual 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, whatever it was, broadcast. Did I hear that right? Does that mean we can actually get together now? And it's, it took a bit of a while for the penny to drop, how significant that was.
But see, that's what I liked about obviously doing the interviews and the mayor's side was people were actually seeing that, you know, even though you're somebody who has all the bling, you still couldn't go and do what you wanted to do. You know what I mean? It was like, well, actually, no, I'm obeying the same rules that you are, and I feel your pain. I actually feel that, you know, this is just not on. But maybe they were listening to the shows again. You know, we did talk about this in a few shows about how we talked about stuff, and it did happen a couple of weeks later. So, how good are you for time, by the way?
We would like to wind it up pretty soon. We're not going to get through every
No, we're
broadcast,
not.
are
No.
we? Can we do a few more minutes and then
Call it
close?
a day. Or maybe come back some other time and finish it off. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy to. Maybe we can we squeeze something in next week? Or
Can do.
it could be
I'll
afterwards, but
now.
then obviously I would no longer have access to the bling.
But do you know what? We've got it. We've got the bling captured for all time now. Don't you worry about that. There is one I want to show you.
Okay.
Let me see if I can forward this on. Okay,
Okay.
I've got to show you this because this is brilliant. I'm going to turn the sound down. So I'll make a little note, 21st of the 9th. Because I think if we give it a bit of time, we can actually go back over this and it's kind of relive it for everybody else as well. Because I think we covered a lot. And to be honest, I would probably like to do a recap of all shows in one respect, because people will forget about this. People won't understand. And now that we're having this recap, I mean, what I remember, till now, obviously clipping it all out, was just unbelievable. If there's one thing we got to leave on, is something where this is it. Actually.
Oh right, so this is it. This is the first time that I wore the bling.
Yes. How ironic. Here we go. Watch this. We'll just bring the mayor up, who's joined us for the couple of weeks update that we usually have. And hang on, let me just zoom out a bit, because look at the bling. He's brought the bling. Mayor Mike Smith has brought the bling.
Greetings, my people.
I'm not joking. I think I fell off this stool. I was like, that's definitely going into the clip. But that was really good.
Well, by that point, my human side really was coming out, wasn't it?
It was. I would say so. Obviously, from the 21st of the 9th was definitely the time when, how many was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your 6th interview that was. But before we go, would you say then this is something you definitely recommend to the next mayor? Then?
I definitely will be. Yes, yeah. I think it's fun to do, and I think it's useful for people to hear this kind of stuff, whatever the subject matter. Just sharing views on things, and we've disagreed at times.
That comes out in the next.
There's no harm in a bit of robust debate, shall we say?
Definitely robust.
I certainly don't believe I'm always right, and I'm sure even a highly intellectual gentleman like yourself is wrong now and again. Must have happened at least once or twice. I
did apologise on air about Centrevax, and you said, well done for apologising and admitting that you were wrong, because I took it to heart when Distributed Bio was sold, and when I heard he'd sold out, and I actually had a rant the show before, and then when I actually went through and finally looked at my stuff, I actually was like, and then I apologised on the show, and you was like, no, well done. But we both will admit if we're wrong, and people do make mistakes.
Absolutely.
And that's why, that first episode where it's kind of like, look, I'm giving the information that I'm supposed to give. It's like, that's not what I wanted. I wanted somebody, and honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better start, a better mayor. Was obviously yourself, and and I big you up, but it was you can see you coming into the role, and you have that sort of quality. You can see that you're going to be once you're actually no, this is a bit more chilled than I thought it was going to be. It's one of those things, and I hope moving on in the years to come, that is something we can push forward with.
Yeah, well, that was one of the things I learned very early on, was that to be a successful mayor, I didn't need to be worried about, well, I don't think I can do that like he used to do, or something else like she used to do. I needed to do it my way, in the way that suited my own personality and what works for me and what doesn't work for me. So every mayor learns that that's the only way to do the job properly and to get more out of it and to enjoy it more. So that's something I'll be passing on to the new mayor when he or she is announced next week, and I shall certainly recommend they make a regular appearance on your show as well.
Thank you very much. What do you think as well, before you go? Do you think it being from an independent like me, which I keep on banging on to people, I'm an independent broadcaster, is a better idea than you just do it yourself, like Martin Tett does on his council thing that he does, which I find very cardboardy. Like, hi, I'm Martin Tett, and this is the information. Boring. Do you think an independent interaction where people say, well, actually, it seems to be, you know, they're not. You don't know the questions. I can tell that to everybody out there. You don't know the questions before we get asked them. You don't know actually what's coming up in the show. And then when I do put it on you, it's a bit like, I mean, you know, obviously people might go, well, he knows how many have died or how many are in, you know, cases. It's like, well, yeah, that's information that's what we're actually having the subject about. We're actually, it's supposed to actually be a town council update. That's what it's really supposed to be. But it's because of coronavirus, it's locked in on that. But everything else, we just generally just chit chat, don't we? And come across, and you know, I usually find something. And
so I think the interaction and the challenge. I think the challenge is important. I wouldn't want to come on and just read from a script or say, this is what I want people to hear, and the bit that I don't think I want people to hear, or the bit that I'm not sure about, I'm going to leave out because that suits me. So this format, I think, is keeps me on my toes, and I think results in better discussion and something that I think people will be more interested in listening to. So yeah, keep the format.
Yeah, I'll tell this to all my watchers, listeners, whatever you want to call them. Is the day when any politician or anybody comes on the show and wants to read out, for instance, this is the only thing I'm going to say and this is the only thing I'm going to do. That's it. Like, well, don't bother coming on. Go to your BBC or your ITV, you know what I mean, or your Sky, because you can see how natural you are. You can see it. And even when I interviewed, again, big shout out to, you know, Greg Smith. He did come on. He didn't know the questions. We went through the stuff, and he did it like, you know, this natural sort of way. And it's the only way to interview. I think, you know, any other way is wrong. It's not right, is it? So.
No, I've enjoyed it so much that I've come back time and time again.
You have indeed. Well, Mayor, once again, how's the new house, by the way, quickly before I go?
It's getting there. We still haven't got much furniture because it's been impossible to buy furniture because the shops weren't even open till April the 12th. Right. And then there's been such a wait, so many people wanting to buy sofas and wardrobes and stuff like that, that the lead time is even worse than normal. So 10, 12 weeks to get things delivered.
Oh,
so
was on the Everard thing, was it? The ship that blocked up the Suez.
That was part of the problem, plus COVID, plus a little bit of the effects of Brexit still laggy. Well, the shops have been blaming all kinds of things, but for whatever reason, we've got a dining room chair and 2 garden chairs as our only furniture at the moment. So we're not actually living there yet, but we'll get a few more weeks and we'll be there.
Okay. Well, I you know, well, we'll catch back maybe next week and do the second part to this then, if you don't mind. That'd be pretty cool.
Okey-doke.
And hopefully you'll get the house furnished. And is it Kerry?
That's right. Yep.
And look at that. Whew. Like I didn't get that one wrong, eh? Wish you all the best from me, and we look forward to seeing you then. And hopefully, once it's back, I can actually make some of this stuff actually work properly.
Okay. All right. Look forward to seeing you again.
As you would say many times, ciao for now.
Cheerio, mate.